Hey guys, and welcome back to another video, and today we have my review of The Invisible Man, which of course came out this year, 2020, and was one of the few films that have actually come out this year. Because of that, there will be no spoilers because it's still a relatively new film, and I do think it's definitely worth a watch. I was lucky enough to see this film in cinemas. I saw it with some friends, and it was really great. And I want to start off by saying Elizabeth Moss is really freaking great in this film. She is so talented, and I hope starring in this film will push her into more popular projects that more people will see, because she was genuinely great in this film. And from what it looked like on the special features, it was something much more difficult to do, which isn't surprising. You're against something invisible, but she did a great job. She pulled every second of this film off for me. So if you don't know, this film follows Cecilia, or C, who is Elizabeth Moss's character, and she was in a relationship with one of the world's top scientists, Adrian, but he was extremely abusive, and so C escapes their home, which by the way is like a fortress. It's insane, but she escapes their home, but soon after it's revealed that Adrian has killed himself. But more strange coincidences start to happen through the film, through the first act, and we start to question whether he's really dead, and of course he isn't. It is a fake death, and Adrian has found a way to become invisible. I've already spoken about Moss's performance. Everyone's performance is great, by the way, really, but her character is done also really well. I really empathise with her and what she's going through throughout this film, and it's horrible to see her start to get better with James, who she's staying with, but then get tormented by Adrian. And she doesn't know if it's her trauma, like PTSD, or what. She doesn't know, and we don't know for sure. We're pretty certain, but we don't know for sure, because for a while it could have just been said like she's paranoid. It's really upsetting to see, because she doesn't know she is already traumatized by their relationship, and now she's getting tormented again by him in death, or what she thinks is death, and he's breaking her mind down entirely. Obviously, this is an iconic horror character, and Leigh Whannel, who directed Saw, by the way, which I haven't seen, don't know if I ever will really, but yeah, he brings sci-fi into this really well, and brings it into realism for me. I found this film very realistic, and found it very grounded, and I thought he did it really well. It was a great modern adaptation. So I said I went to see this in cinemas with two friends, one of them being the guy I did the podcast with, which as always will be on the end screen, but one of them, I don't remember which one exactly, but one of them said that they didn't find this film scary, and I majorly disagree. I think it's a very scary film, very intense. The score alone makes me feel intimidated and frightened for myself and everyone in the film. The fact that you can't see who's tormenting her, even though we know it's Adrian, you don't know where he is. He could be stalking you at any time. He could be in the room at any point, and that's much scarier to me than seeing someone stalking you. Don't get me wrong, that's also terrifying, but when you could be getting watched, they could be right next to you and you would have no idea. And I just think that that's just terrifying to me. But the camera movement is used in a very smart way. I'm not sure who the cinematographer was on this film, and I apologise. I'm not sure if it was Leigh Whannel's idea or someone else, but to let us know that C might not be alone, they like panning to a part of the room where there's nothing there. They might just move to a chair where no one sat, or to just a corner, or anywhere, or stay on a shot where C's left, but there's no one there, but it just stays there anyway. And it makes you feel very on edge, or at least it did for me. Adrian in this film, who's played by Luke from The Haunting of Hill House, and I don't remember the actor's name, and I really apologise because I absolutely love him, but he's a very manipulative person in this film, and he even manipulates the audience, making us question if we've been following on this film correctly, if we're insane, if C's insane, and if we're just wrong, if the film has just pulled a 180 on us. Because there's a reveal with Tom's brother later on in the film, in the third act, and it really plays with everyone's heads, and we do get closure at the end of the film. We do know what actually happened, but it's executed very well, making us question it, making us even more interested, and also confused and scared. As for flaws, I think there are multiple points where someone definitely should have seen that something was going on and C wasn't crazy. Like there's a fight with C and Adrian in James's house, and that's never addressed. Like, it's left in a total mess. There's a wall smashed, there's tables flipped, plates smashed, but it's never addressed, and it's clear that there was a massive fight there, but it's just skipped over, which is fine. But yeah, There's also a scene in a public place, which is probably the main one. That's a problem for me. Like, it's a really shocking scene, really emotional, really good scene, but someone should have seen what was going on. It's in a restaurant and someone dies, and it's like, so how does someone not see that there are floating objects? But yeah, like I said, it's still a pretty good scene. And the last one is with Adrian. I get he's a genius, and in most instances I get how he's able to find C, but in very few, like maybe one or two, we don't know how he knows where she is, and it's just kind of like, oh, okay, we just kind of have to live with it. And it just doesn't make sense to me. But like I said, the majority of that it's done well. The Invisible Man is a great movie. I highly recommend watching. It's very intense, very scary, and very emotional. I give The Invisible Man an 8 out of 10. I want to quickly touch on a deleted scene that had C and her sister that I think should have been left in the film. They were on their way to see Tom, and it would have just added more to their relationship. It had a bit about their backstory, and I don't mind that it got cut. It doesn't make me dislike the film. Probably wouldn't change my score, but I just think that a scene later on in the film, if this scene was left in, the scene later on would have had a much bigger impact. And it still hit me, the scene later on. Like, I was still emotional, I was still shocked, but I think if this scene was left in, would have made a much bigger impact. But like I say, it doesn't matter too much for me. I just find it interesting that it got cut. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, this was just my opinion. Did you guys love or hate The Invisible Man? Let me know in the comments below as long as you're respectful about it with me and everyone else. Thanks guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.